Have you ever felt an unexplainable pull towards something far beyond the ordinary? A hidden force urging you to question everything you thought you knew? If so, you're not alone. Some people claim there's a select group walking among us, those destined to break the mold, defy the odds, and in the process, send waves of alarm through anyone who's ever stood in their way. These individuals are often labeled the chosen ones, and their existence sparks everything from reverent fascination to heated debates. In this video, you'll discover the shocking truth behind how such people rise from obscurity to astonishing influence, seemingly guided by an otherworldly force. But be warned, once you begin to grasp the magnitude of their calling, you might never see the world or yourself the same way again. Each chapter of their journey exposes another layer of controversy, from hidden societies and rumored conspiracies to intense personal trials that would have crushed just about anyone else. Most astonishingly, every hardship they endure seems to fuel an unprecedented awakening, turning them into individuals so unwavering, so powerful, that onlookers are left speechless. Critics may call them delusional, while admirers see them as prophets of a new era. But nearly everyone agrees, when these chosen ones finally step into their destiny, you can practically hear the skeptics scream for mercy. Ready to find out why? Keep watching to uncover the rumors swirling around their hidden backstory, the shocking transformations they undergo, and the epic showdown that occurs when they finally stand firm in their purpose. By the end, you'll question whether you too might have a bigger role to play than you ever imagined. Let's begin with the first crucial piece, the hush-hush origins that paved the way for something no one saw coming. Legends of chosen individuals transcend cultures and time periods, echoing through ancient myths and modern-day conspiracy theories alike. Some say these people are handpicked by divine forces. Others believe they're simply exceptional human beings, groomed from birth to achieve greatness. Whichever you believe, one fact remains. The concept of the chosen one is woven into our collective psyche, spanning from ancient mythology to contemporary pop culture. In ancient civilizations, stories spoke of warriors or prophets singled out by gods for extraordinary missions, like bridging worlds or safeguarding humanity from looming threats. Modern folklore has its own version, with rumors of secret societies scouting children who exhibit rare talents or spiritual gifts. Whispers abound that influential groups might even test these kids, subjecting them to closed-door training intended to unlock their latent abilities. Fans of conspiracy theories love to point to alleged files or projects that document these covert operations. Of course, official sources dismiss such talk as mere fantasy. Yet what's intriguing is the sheer consistency of the narrative. The same tropes appear over and over. The chosen one typically endures a lonely childhood, displays unusual curiosity, and is inexplicably drawn to wisdom older than recorded history. They often find themselves the subject of subtle sabotage, people doubting them, labeling them as too different or too strange, almost as if some unseen hand has tried to suppress their true potential before it can fully manifest. Skeptics argue that the chosen one phenomenon is a byproduct of human storytelling, an ego-driven way to feel special or escape the mundane. But supporters have a different take. They see it as proof that certain souls carry a heightened purpose, forging paths of transformation for entire communities. They note that these individuals frequently attract challenges of heroic proportions. The adversity, however, is not coincidental. It's part of a cosmic test meant to refine them like diamonds in a furnace. As you'll soon see, the more you dig, the more you'll notice the controversies, rumors, and conspiracies swirling around them. People can't decide if they're saviors or threats. All we do know is that these unique souls rarely have it easy. For them, every moment is a stepping stone towards something far greater than themselves, something that, if unleashed, could rattle the foundations of what we call normal life. Next, we'll uncover the brutal trials that threaten to break these individuals and how those very struggles might just cement their legendary status. If there's one universal aspect of the Chosen One narrative, it's hardship. Nothing about their path is smooth. In fact, many believe these struggles are the crucible in which they're forged. Critics, bullies, and doubters emerge at every turn, nearly overwhelming them with skepticism and hostility. It's as if the world senses their latent power and tries to keep it contained. Some accounts speak of emotional turmoil hitting these individuals at a young age, feelings of isolation, being misunderstood by family or peers, or enduring repeated setbacks that test their resolve. A star athlete told of constant injuries that almost ended his career before it started, while a budding artist recounted relentless pushback from mentors who tried to stifle her unconventional vision. On paper, these stories might look like common misfortunes, but proponents of the Chosen One idea see a pattern, repeated adversity that seems too targeted to be chance. Rumors then expand to darker speculations. A few have faced legal nightmares after accusations suddenly surfaced right when they were on the brink of success. Others battled severe health issues out of nowhere, the type that could derail an ordinary person entirely. Every time, they emerge more determined, more aligned with a mission they can't yet articulate, but deeply sense. Critics call this confirmation bias. People naturally interpret bad luck as supernatural adversity if they already believe in a grand, mystical plan. But here's the puzzling part. These repeated blows don't destroy them. Instead, they galvanize them, granting an almost superhuman resilience. They learn to stand firm, unaffected by the noise, channeling adversity into creativity, strategic thinking, and unshakable faith. It's reminiscent of an old saying, "Smooth seas never made a skilled sailor." By confronting each wave, they hone their mastery over life's chaos in ways that ordinary paths never require. Perhaps that's why the rumor mill goes wild whenever one of them finally emerges from the shadows. People wonder how they overcame so much without losing sanity or succumbing to despair. The answer, according to believers, is that the hardships are precisely what mold them into spiritual or personal powerhouses. If the entire world were stacked against you from day one, you'd either be crushed or you'd adapt until you became unstoppable. And for these chosen few, the second scenario is exactly what plays out. But adversity is just the first step on this unusual journey. The story ramps up further when they experience a sudden mind-bending shift, an aha moment so profound that it redefines their entire reality. And that's the moment cynics can no longer ignore them. Let's delve into that turning point now. If the Chosen One's backstory is all about hidden hints of greatness and their struggles shape them into unbreakable souls, then the awakening moment is the spark that sets everything ablaze. Picture this. After years of torment, confusion, or near-constant uphill battles, something clicks. It could arrive in the form of a revelatory dream, an uncanny coincidence, or an intense personal crisis that cracks them wide open. Suddenly, they see what others can't. New insights flood in, or a dormant talent explodes into mastery overnight. Friends might notice a profound shift in their demeanor, a calm certainty replacing old doubts, or an unshakable vision for the future that they pursue with borderline obsession. Believers view this as the moment a higher force steps in, activating them for a purpose that transcends petty day-to-day worries. The best part? This moment often comes wrapped in controversy. Think of the scientist who was ridiculed for her fringe ideas until she published groundbreaking findings that revolutionized her field. Or the performer who had faced endless ridicule, only to reinvent himself with such raw, unstoppable creativity that even die-hard critics began to pay attention. These awakening stories carry an electric charge, turning them from underdogs to unstoppable forces practically overnight. Skeptics argue that there's nothing divine about it, just the result of years of practice, perseverance, or pure luck finally blossoming. And yet, that doesn't explain the magnitude of some transformations. It's hard to dismiss the goosebumps you get when you hear how quickly lives can pivot once these individuals step into alignment. They become magnets for synchronicities, random opportunities, chance encounters with powerful mentors, or even miraculous recoveries from long-standing illnesses. This sudden pivot disrupts the status quo. People who once dismissed them start to feel uneasy, as if confronted by something they can't categorize. Fans flock to them, sensing an almost magnetic presence. Detractors double down, claiming this is all smoke and mirrors. But the awakened rarely care about others' opinions anymore. Their goal is singular: fulfill a destiny they finally recognize as theirs. After the awakening, there's typically no turning back. They charge forward with an unearthly conviction, stepping into higher levels of influence that stun everyone around them. And that's when the real controversies begin. The newly awakened chosen one doesn't just seize the spotlight. They become a spotlight unto themselves, illuminating corners of life most people never even think to question. Their moves can appear synchronized with universal forces, as though invisible doors keep swinging open at just the right moments. Colleagues, friends, or family may whisper that something about them has changed, that their presence alone can shift the energy in a room. With influence comes controversy. Suddenly, rumors swirl that a chosen individual might be colluding with hidden factions or practicing clandestine spiritual techniques. Talk of exposing the system surfaces, raising eyebrows among those in positions of authority. Sometimes critics brand them as charismatic manipulators who thrive on groupthink. Others hail them as the saviors who might finally challenge corrupt institutions. Either way, the conversation is never dull. In certain circles, people gossip about unimaginable synchronicities, like receiving a lucrative job offer the day they needed it most, or meeting exactly the right person at a coffee shop to kickstart an ambitious project. These uncanny events become fuel for the legend that chosen ones have the universe on speed dial. Whether that's sheer coincidence or something more metaphysical remains hotly debated, but the effect is undeniable. Meanwhile, established power structures often feel uneasy. Corporations, governments, or traditional religious bodies sometimes label these individuals as threats if they question conventional norms too loudly. Whispers may surface that they've been blacklisted, forced out of opportunities, or even targeted by smear campaigns. Believers interpret these tactics as further proof that chosen ones stand for big change, and that big change always meets resistance. It's at this point that everything shifts, from personal evolution to social impact. People either rally behind them or stand firmly against them, and the tension builds to a breaking point. You can sense the hush before the storm, and once it breaks, there's no returning to business as usual. So what exactly triggers the final confrontation? Let's find out. Every story about chosen individuals seems to have a pivotal showdown where doubters, opponents, or even old acquaintances come face to face with a power they never believed possible. Call it karma or cosmic justice, but it often looks like the world flips upside down. Skeptics who mocked them suddenly need their help. Enemies who sabotaged them watch in disbelief as they soar to unimaginable heights. This transformation is rarely subtle. Instead, it's more like a shockwave ripping through the environment, forcing everyone to confront uncomfortable truths. Imagine a scenario where a former manager who once belittled a chosen individual now begs for collaboration, realizing they hold a key skill or knowledge that can't be replaced. Or a longtime rival discovering that despite years of backstabbing, the chosen one has risen so high that refusing to work together is career-ending. They'll scream for mercy, as the saying goes, might be hyperbole, but it captures the emotional whiplash perfectly. A lot of these disbelievers never expected payback, or a humbling twist that shifts the power dynamic so drastically. It's not always about revenge for the chosen one, though. In fact, many show surprising grace, offering help instead of hostility. That alone can be a turning point, prompting the skeptics to realize just how narrow their worldview once was. During this reversal, the chosen one often sets firm boundaries, finally free to define the terms of every interaction. There's no eagerness to please or fear of rejection anymore. They're done playing small. They stand their ground and simply say, "This is who I am. If you can't respect it, move aside." And astonishingly, people do move aside, usually with their egos bruised, but their eyes opened. From an outsider's perspective, this moment might feel triumphant and unsettling all at once. Triumphant because it showcases the chosen one's hard-earned growth. Unsettling because it defies the usual script where the underdog is supposed to stay in their lane. Now that the tables have turned, how will these newly empowered figures shape the world around them? The next chapter delves into the solid core that enables them to stand firm in their mission, no matter what comes their way. If there's a single defining trait that sets chosen individuals apart from the crowd, it's their unwavering commitment to their own mission. After countless trials, awakening moments, and the dramatic turning of tables, they've seen what they're made of, and they refuse to compromise. This tenacity stems from something deeper than ambition. It's tied to their very essence, as though their souls resonate with a grand purpose no hardship can deter. Boundaries become crucial at this stage, where once they might have tolerated toxic relationships, exploitative offers, or doubting voices, they now guard their energy like an invaluable treasure. They only engage with people and opportunities that align with their calling. Critics may interpret this as arrogance or self-importance, but in truth, it's a form of self-preservation and respect for the sacred work they feel entrusted to carry out. This inner strength often manifests as a kind of calm certainty. They're not easily rattled by gossip, envy, or negative feedback. While everyone else might obsess over social status or fleeting trends, These individuals keep their eyes on a more profound horizon, one that transcends everyday worries. It's a stance so rare that it sometimes intimidates others, but it also inspires anyone searching for a model of authentic leadership. How do they maintain such clarity? Many credit spiritual practices like meditation, prayer, or even time alone in nature. Others harness the momentum of a creative project that fuels their sense of purpose. They learn to spot distractions a mile away, sidestepping traps that once derailed them. The storms still come, but they remain unshaken, secure in the knowledge that every storm eventually passes. This steadfast nature has a ripple effect. It encourages those around them to be more intentional, to tune out trivial gossip and zero in on what really matters in life. With so much chaos in the modern world, seeing someone radiate unwavering focus can feel like a breath of fresh air, a guiding light, proving that you don't have to bend to every passing wind. Next, we'll take a broader view of how these transformations feed into the idea of a global reset, a reimagining of life where old norms give way to something radically new. In the eyes of many spiritual thinkers, the rise of chosen individuals marks a collective shift, a global reset where centuries of flawed institutions and outdated mindsets begin to crumble. Look around. Social movements are springing up at unprecedented speeds. Outdated power structures are being challenged, and marginalized voices are demanding representation. Some interpret this as mere social evolution. Others believe there's a metaphysical component at play, led by people who are tuning into a higher frequency. The narrative goes that these chosen ones serve as catalysts, igniting change from within established systems. Whether they're scientists daring to question entrenched theories, activists speaking truth to power, or entrepreneurs launching ventures that disrupt corporate norms, their influence accelerates transformation. It's not always a smooth revolution. Countless obstacles try to hold progress back. But each time, that unstoppable sense of purpose pushes them to break boundaries. Controversies bubble to the surface in the process. Opponents argue these shifts threaten economic stability or social cohesion, while supporters say they're the birth pangs of a more equitable world. Either way, ignoring it is no longer possible. Stories emerge about offices overhauling their entire culture after a chosen individual was hired, or communities banding together to create self-sustaining ecosystems inspired by a single visionary who refused to accept the status quo. What's particularly intriguing is how their impact extends far beyond their immediate circle. People who've never even met them feel the aftershock. Perhaps it's a viral video that sparks a mass awakening, or an underground campaign that quietly rewires popular opinion. The scope is so vast that it hints at a grand design, as if we're living through a generational turning point that demands new voices, and the chosen ones have arrived right on cue. This global reset is more than a buzzword. It's an unfolding process where each shift, each breakthrough sends ripples across continents. And it doesn't stop with technology or politics. Spiritual beliefs, personal identity, and the very meaning of community are being redefined in real time. Next, we'll uncover how these changes cascade outward, inspiring ordinary people to tap into their own hidden reserves of courage and insight. No revolution, whether quiet or explosive, remains contained. Once the chosen ones step into the public eye, people around them either recoil in skepticism or lean in, captivated by the potential for deep transformation. This curiosity begets conversation, and conversation spurs action. It's like watching dominoes fall in slow motion, each piece knocking over the next in a chain reaction that alters the landscape entirely. Take, for example, the story of a small town once plagued by despair and economic downturn, suddenly revitalized after a visionary educator implemented groundbreaking learning programs. Or the underdog musician whose heartfelt songs triggered a cultural movement spanning continents. In each case, the rise of a single chosen figure sparks momentum that others build upon, proving that one person's courage can indeed set countless others free. Sometimes the impact becomes controversial. Certain rumors suggest that institutions feeling threatened by this wave of empowerment try to co-opt it or dismantle it from within. Skeptics claim new leaders are inevitably corrupted, but in many instances, the chosen remain steadfast, reminding everyone that there's a difference between hype and genuine transformation. Real change endures even when the spotlight fades, because it's woven into the collective consciousness of entire communities, and the effect isn't just external. Anyone watching these events unfold might find themselves pondering bigger questions. Am I settling for less than I'm capable of? Have I ignored signs calling me to something greater? The ripple effect can stir introspection, awakening seeds of purpose in people who never saw themselves as leaders or disruptors. That, in many ways, is the most profound shift of all, transforming bystanders into active participants in a story that's still being written. But there's one final piece to this puzzle, the conclusion that ties all these threads together, leaving us with a provocative question. What if everything we've explored here hints that any one of us could be on the brink of our own awakening? Before we wrap up, consider the possibility that chosen ones aren't just a small, exclusive group, but rather a foreshadowing of humanity's potential. What if these people merely show us what happens when innate gifts meet unshakable determination? If that's true, then the real shocker isn't that they exist, but that each of us might be capable of a similar transformation if we dared to face our darkest trials head-on. Stories abound of everyday individuals who tapped into extraordinary courage in times of crisis. Single parents surmounting impossible odds, unlikely political candidates changing entire constituencies, or underprivileged teens rising to lead philanthropic revolutions in their hometowns. These accounts challenge the notion that only a select few can claim the title of chosen. The difference might be a matter of mindset, a willingness to trust that every setback is part of a grander purpose. Of course, cynics remain unconvinced, insisting that this is mere romanticism. But even the skeptics can't deny the glow in someone's eyes after they've discovered their life's calling. There's something inherently contagious about that kind of passion, something that resonates on a deeply human level. It nudges us to wonder whether our potential is equally vast, waiting only for the right moment to activate. Yet, activation isn't easy. It often demands relinquishing comfort zones, confronting personal demons, and perhaps most intimidatingly, daring to believe you're destined for more. But the payoff, as we've seen in countless stories, can be transformative, not just for the individual, but for everyone who crosses their path. And that might be the most astonishing revelation of all, that ordinary people can rise to feats of greatness once reserved only for mythical heroes and revered prophets. The final section will tie together these ideas and encourage a deeper reflection on what your own journey could look like now that these possibilities are on the table. From hidden origins and relentless trials to sudden awakenings and boundary-shattering influence, the narrative of the Chosen Ones fascinates for a reason. It shows us what can happen when a person embraces their calling without compromise, breaking through barriers that once seemed insurmountable. Even the loudest critics can find themselves reeling, unable to dismiss the sheer power that emerges when destiny aligns with unwavering faith. In a world that often feels chaotic, these individuals remind us that chaos can be a catalyst for innovation and growth. Their rise embodies the possibility that amid all the noise and doubt, there lies a path steeped in purpose and guided by an unseen current. And perhaps the most intriguing twist is the suggestion that we're all capable of tapping into some aspect of that potential. While not everyone will become a household name or spark a global movement, we might each have our own sphere where we're chosen to make a decisive impact. So here's the final question. Are you ready to stop dismissing your hardships as random misfortune and start seeing them as potential fuel for your awakening? Could your trials be the very thing guiding you toward a mission only you can fulfill? You don't need the label of Chosen One to step forward with conviction. Sometimes, the power is simply in deciding to answer a call most people ignore. No matter where you stand, believer, skeptic, or somewhere in between, one truth remains. The world is changing, and it's changing fast. Those who stand firm, embodying their deepest values and highest visions, will play key roles in shaping the new era. Whether you call them chosen, awakened, or simply courageous, they're here to disrupt the status quo and invite the rest of us to rise as well. The only question left is, will you rise with them, or will you watch from the sidelines as a new narrative takes hold?